World heavyweight wrestling champion, United States heavyweight champion, a professional wrestler for 15 years. Dick, what size shirt do you wear around the neck?
Well, I usually don't wear my shirts around the neck. I put them on through the armpits, and I button them, but today my tailor's cleaning the one shirt I came to Detroit with after a fight last night. So I have to wear my bod shirt, but I wear a 21-inch collar, if that's what you're...
21-inch collar. And
right.
What size suit do you wear across the
I wear
tip?
56.
56.
Not stout or port, but a regular...
56 regular.
Right.
And how much do you weigh?
255 pounds.
And how do you stay in shape?
By chasing girls and drinking beer.
That's a good way to... What is your deal? Are you married?
4 times.
Are you married now?
4 times, yeah.
Yeah. What does your wife say about the way you stay in shape?
Well, I don't chase girls when my wife's around.
I see. That's just a little private matter.
Well, it's not too private now, is it?
No. You played professional football for the Green Bay Packers, didn't you?
Green Bay Packers, yes, sir.
What did you play?
What did I play?
Yeah, what position?
I played guard and tackle.
How did you go into wrestling?
Well, I used to wrestle at University of Purdue before I played professional football, and then I guess all amateur wrestlers always think of wrestling as a career, and I was large enough and had a lot of promoters around the country that offered me a sum, and I just off-season from professional football I went into professional wrestling.
A Life magazine article on April 7th carried an article on the rebirth of wrestling, which stated that the suspicion that wrestling matches are fixed, if not in fact choreographed. And it says it has never daunted the true wrestling fan. And the article continues, and I quote, "The fan clearly recognizes the difference between professionals and amateurs in the sport. The amateurs, mostly members of high school and college teams, are known for their strength, integrity, keen understanding of the rules, and polite willingness to disengage cleanly at the referee's request. For the pros, there are other requirements: showmanship, garish costumes, a wide range of grimaces, and a willingness to be gouged, kneed, bitten, and kicked." Isn't professional wrestling really showbiz?
Well, it's showbiz in the way that they get more money for their tickets than they do for amateur wrestling, and when fans pay $6 and $7, I'm going to be in some matches this summer where the fans will pay $25 for ringside seats. I think the fans deserve a little more than just laying on the mat and trying to subdue your opponent in 1 minute on the mat with no action. So being one of the largest draws, or probably the largest draw in the country.
You are?
Wrestling-wise, that's right.
You really are the top dog,
There's
huh?
none that make more money than I do. And there's only 2 ways, and this will answer a lot of questions. There's only 2 ways for a wrestler, or there's only 2 ways for a commentator like yourself. There's only 2 ways for anybody with responsibility to demand money, and that's to be a winner and to have some showmanship. And wrestling is just like any other sport or any other business. It depends on the person. I can't say that wrestling matches haven't been fixed, but for me to lose a wrestling match, they would have to fix it, and I don't lose. Now, I might be suspended by state commissions. I might be jailed by police. I might, a lot of things happen in that respect, but nobody will beat me. And that's why I have come to demand a high salary, and I get a percentage of gates wherever I go, and I'm in so demand that I'm booked way ahead of time.
In other words, you never lose a match? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't get pinned.
You've never lost a match? Why aren't you the champion now, then?
Because, well, I was the champion up to about 4 months ago, and the commission took the championship away from me.
Why did they do that?
Under a technicality. Well, I didn't win it in a 3-fall match. A 1 hour, I won it in a 1-fall.
But you've lost matches, haven't you?
Just by being suspended or roughness, that's all.
But you've never actually been pinned by anybody?
Not pinned, no.
And you're...
Several times I've gone out of the ring, like on this head, as pretty as it might be.
Your head?
That's right.
It's really kind of pretty.
I think
Does
so,
girls
too.
tell you that, too?
Even some boys.
No kidding.
Right. But we won't.
Are there gay boys in wrestling?
No, not that I know. Well, they last maybe one day.
What happens to them?
Well, they're like gay jockeys, you know. They just keep running, you know, on the horses. So anyway, Lou, you take my face and my head. Now, I've lost. I can't say I've never lost. I've never lost on a pin, but I have fallen through the ropes and lit on chairs. I've been stabbed, shot.
Shot?
And,
who shot you?
Well, fans and wrestlers will, they'll go to all means to win, some of them. You take Life magazine. 7 or 8 years ago, I was in Life magazine for creating the largest riot in the old Madison Square Garden. I wish I had been informed that you'd have been quoting from Life, because I would have brought the article. And it shows yours truly there at the New York State Athletic Commission Court, and I was fined $1,500. I've been through the same thing as you know if you've read my background, little history, that I do get in a lot of street fights and various things that I shouldn't be doing along my career.
You don't get paid for those street fights, do you?
No, all I do is spend money. But back to the Madison Square Garden, the old Madison Square Garden, we had a riot there, which I caused. I had, if you remember, a wrestler by the name of Argentina Rocca, and I was beating his head on a ring post, and the place seats 20,000 people, and they all rioted. 75 police were injured, 150 spectators were injured. 2 policemen broke their backs, all because I had a man of lead descent beating his head on the post, and he started bleeding, and everybody saw red and rushed the ring. And they were trying to inflict pain upon me. I should have sued everybody there. But instead, I stayed very active and hurt several people, and I've never been able to go back in the state of New York.
Were there a few lawsuits that they'd like to serve you with?
Yes, that's how I'm back here in Detroit right at the present time. I've paid up my back lawsuits, and I'm all free to go and come as I please here, as long as I don't hit anybody.
You had some lawsuits here, too?
Oh, yes. I've had several here in Detroit.
You had a little fight with Alex Karras here, didn't you?
Alex Karras, however, Alex Karras is a gentleman. He has never sued me, I'll say that.
He never sued you?
He's never sued me. That's the one good thing I can say about him.
I want to come back in just a moment and talk to you about the Alex Karras fight.
All right. If you don't ask me too many embarrassing questions.
All right.
All right.
All right. We'll be right.
Dick, tell me about that fight with Alex Karras, will you?
Well, you mean the one here in the bar in Detroit?
Yes. Did you have another one with him?
Well, I did have another one with him, and I beat him at the Olympia Stadium.
Well, that was a wrestling match.
A wrestling
Yeah,
match.
but I want to know about the fight you had at the bar downtown.
Well, unfortunately, at the bar, I never really got a good hold of Alex Karras. I grabbed his good friend, Jimmy Karras, who was the proprietor of the place, and I had him down because he motioned for several would-be bouncers in the joint to put me out of the place. So I naturally knew that Jimmy Karras would be a good anchor. And I immediately put him under myself just to anchor myself. And then it seemed that the place doesn't have, or didn't at that time have a high reputation, a good and high reputation as a clean place for sportsmen. They had a lot of pool sharks hanging around there. And they all proceeded to hit me on the head with their pool cues. I've got a picture one of the Detroit papers took where my eye was hanging out, and one guy had a cue in my eye, and anyway, the police, as far as I know, I never did get a good sock at Alex Karras. All he was trying to do was save his partner.
Karras,
his good friend. I don't believe there's been talk through the years that Alex Karras owned part of that bar, but I don't believe he did. That was just his good friend, and but the association was so close that they had to remove each other.
So actually, you never really got a sock at Alex?
I never got a sock at Alex. I took care of that in a match that we had several months later. At that period of time, Alex was not able to play football because of some minor incident of they accused him of betting a few dollars on a football game, which he did or didn't, I don't know. But it was a very minor thing, but at that season he was not able to play. And he was a very fine amateur wrestler from the University of Iowa and had wrestled one season professionally while he played football. And anyway, we had the match, and I beat him, I think, in about 12 minutes.
And you really gave it to him? You gave him a few...
Well, yeah, but I was stitched up quite a few places. I was going to say a while ago, before your technicians cut the cameras off on me, that I've got over 300 stitches on my head, my face. All my teeth are knocked out except from eye tooth to eye tooth. And like I said, I've got all kinds of stitches all over me and holes in here and various things.
You get all these things in the ring and out
in the ring, out of the ring, yeah, but they all accumulate, and culminate from the episodes in the ring.
Did you tell me before that some wrestling matches are fixed, but that you yourself have never been involved in a fixed match?
I would say that some in carnivals and in funny places where there's no sanctioning by athletic commissions, it's no more than a show, such as anything that goes on.
Well, for example, in Michigan, I'm told you can't call them matches. You have to call them exhibitions.
Well, they have that state law any place there's a state athletic commission. Exhibitions, but exhibition, nobody really knows. That's just a term they grabbed the old-time boxers about 40 years ago. When the wrestlers and the boxers were vying for each other's money. And the boxers at that time were the boxing men that had the stranglehold on the game were very volatile and very strong with state athletic commissions, and that was one thing they threw in.
Yeah, but you surely don't expect me to believe that some of the antics I see in the ring, the punishment that's seemingly imposed on somebody, that's for real.
Well, like I said, I can't tell everybody about other people, but if you'll see here, my biceps missing here. Now, you don't get that from playing horseshoes.
Yeah, I'm talking about other people. In other words, are you telling me
that
when you give it to those guys in the ring, it's the real thing?
That's right, Lugo.
You don't fool around?
I don't fool around.
And you don't have it prearranged?
I don't have anything prearranged except that I'm going to be on here a few more minutes.
That's wrong with prearranged.
That's prearrangement, but not when I wrestle. It's not prearrangement.
What about who would be the Gordie Howe of the wrestling business, Mr. Gentleman, Mr. Perfection? Is there such a thing?
Yes, there's wrestlers in all big cities. Detroit's a very large city, rated in the top 5 in the United States, I think. And Wilbur Snyder is probably that type of fella. He's a university graduate at the University of Utah. Played with the Los Angeles Rams and with the Edmonton Eskimos. A gentleman. Very nice-looking guy. Vern Gagne, the same way.
Did you ever wrestle these fellas?
Sure.
Did you beat them?
I beat them all. But now they're all my friends. I haven't wrestled either one for several years.
Professional wrestlers are usually classified as the good and the pure, or the mean and the ugly. And you've been labeled one of the bad guys. Yet you win all the time. Aren't the good guys supposed to win?
I'm a good, bad, pure, ugly son of a gun.
A good, bad, pure, ugly son of a gun. Now, how can you categorize yourself that way?
Well, I want to take in all the territory.
You don't want to miss anything?
Don't want to miss a thing.
Why do you think wrestling is reaching upsurge in popularity?
Well, it's reaching new heights. The more that the people clamp down on, so to speak, in TV, they clamp down on violence, that the people want an escape somewhere. And wrestling does have a certain amount of violence in it. And all people love violence, no matter how you try to keep it from them.
How old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah.
If you'll tell your age, I'll tell mine.
Well, my age is a matter of record.
It is?
Yeah.
I've got a record too, but I'm not going to give it to you.
Well, let's see. You've been out of school. All right.
This guy's trying to get my record, Charlie.
You have any message you want to leave here for Alex Karras?
No, I think Alex Karras is a fine gentleman, and he's a fine guy. He's never cost me a dime. It's the 2 city policemen. I broke one of these fellas' arms, and I think I can say it safely. I kicked the other one in the groin, inflicting a serious injury upon him, which he's never been able to have a full life since then. And each one of these men cost me approximately $35,000 apiece, and I paid the city of Detroit, and I'm back here, and that's another reason I can say, and I can truthfully say, there will be no circumstances where I'm going to lose because I'm back here to get my money.
You want to get that 35?
I'm getting it back. 35 apiece.
That 35,000 apiece?
That's right, sir.
That was in the fight in the bar with
That's
Alex
in the
Karras?
fight in the bar with Alex Karras.
Would you, before you leave, would you stand up and show us your manly physique standing rather than
Well,
sitting?
if the people come to the Olympia Stadium, they'll always see Dick the Bruiser, and I'll always look this way. However, sometimes I'm scarred, scratched, bitten, and every other thing. I'm glad to see you. I'll give you a match anytime.
Okay, Dick. Take a look at that
Get
camera.
this thing off me before it strangles me. I can't take this thing.